Thank you, families, for joining us today. I hope you're doing well at home. And we thought that we would continue our conversations with some of my friends. And this one today, I've been super excited about because I get to introduce to you one of my best friends in the world, a mentor to me. And I am super thankful to have David Garrard here with me. David, and he'll have to tell you a little bit, David, you'll have to say in a minute how long you were in children's ministry. But David was the children's pastor at St. Matthew's Baptist Church in Louisville, Kentucky for quite a while, several years, and has recently retired from that, I guess is what we're calling that, or redirecting. I don't know what you call it. But has, through this whole process, though, has also been part of his ministry has been magic. And right now, that's what he does full time. And so I want him to tell us a little bit about what he's been up to and what's going on there. And then we're going to have a conversation about a new project he's working on and how that really affects and goes, leads us into our conversation for today about dads. What is our role here during this time? So Dave, it's good to have you. I'm so glad you're here, and way to represent with your hat, your jersey, and your banner in the background. Okay. Tell everybody about what you
wore all that just for you. So yeah, it's good to see you. Dave and I have been good friends for quite some time, and I have appreciated David's support for me and encouragement that he's provided me and the opportunities that we've had to partner together. As he told you, I recently retired after 42 years as minister to children at St. Matthew's Baptist Church here in Louisville. And it was a part-time position because the rest of my time was devoted to magic. I've been entertaining with magic since I was about 12 years old. And so that's all I'm doing right now. But of course, you asked me what I'm doing right now. Like everybody else, I'm not doing anything right now. I'm mowing my grass and reading books and practicing and, trying to be a good American. And desperately right now trying not to touch my face. I live in the Ohio Valley, and the allergies, I don't know about the COVID, but the allergies are going to kill me.
Yeah, I believe it. It's just like I saw the other day, somebody's video or put a meme out the other day that said, they tell me not to touch my eyes. And so what are my eyes doing? They're screaming, touch me.
That's right. That's right.
I've had more allergies right now. And we all are wondering, is that a sign? No, that's allergies.
And when you're a contact lens wearer, of course, I don't have mine in right now. So it's even worse.
I understand. I am too. I've gone back and forth with glasses to contacts. I'm glad that you're here. I love my conversation with you, and I'm glad to share this with some of our listeners and our parents really here through First Baptist Indian Trail and anybody else who ends up listening to this. But you have been working on a project you were sharing with me for quite some time, actually, and the Lord's brought this back around to you. And I specifically wanted to talk about how this project connects to our dads. And so will you share a little bit about your project right now, and then we're going to talk about dads. Sure.
I think one of the gifts, one of the silver linings of this entire virus thing is that a lot of us are finding ourselves with more time on our hands, and perhaps time to pursue some things that we've wanted to pursue, but for different reasons. And I mean, I'm retired, and so except for the fact that now I'm off the road, I even have a little more time than I had. And so, as I told you, I started writing a book about my dad. My dad died in 1993. And Dad was just a big influence in my life. He was a pastor, and so he was a ministry mentor, as well as the person that got me interested in magic and taught me my first magic. And just so many ways. I don't carry on a conversation very long, or certainly say, without saying something about my dad. So I started writing this book, and it's called Thanks, Dad. And just, again, thanking him for the many ways in which he shaped my life. Well, I couldn't find a publisher, and so it's been sitting since the mid-90s. And a couple of weeks ago, I thought, you know what? This is the time to start in on that again. I have been fortunate in finding somebody who said they would publish. And so I'm working away trying to finish it up, and hopefully we'll have it available. September 1st is my goal, but it may be ready but before then because everybody has more time on their hands.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about that for a second. Your dad's influence on you. You mentioned that he was the one that got you influenced with and started with your magic. But also I know just spiritually an influence and just, I think one of the things to zero in on is that our dads are just right now, there's not a magic formula, speaking of magic, to this other than just being there and just being involved and teaching things, teaching a trade. It was, someone asked me yesterday, they said, what is it that your dad passed down to you? What might it be? And so right now, here's an opportunity for dads to do that. So share a little bit about that with your dad.
Well, and I think for a lot of folks, it's maybe a skill like how to woodwork or how to play sports or something. My dad did teach me a lot about sports, and we loved following the Braves and Georgia Tech and things together. But magic would be the main thing that Dad kind of passed along to me in terms of a skill or at least an interest. Dad was not a professional in the sense that he went out and did shows and things, but he loved magic. He knew some magic. He got me interested in magic. And then this is the thing, David, that I've thought about a little bit more over the past year. Dad had a shoebox that was filled with his magic tricks, and I learned all the magic in the shoebox. And so at that point, I've pretty much learned everything that Dad knew. But Dad could tell how much I loved this and how special it was. And so he went to a friend who he knew was a very accomplished magician, and he basically said, "Where do we go from here?" And this friend said, "Well, you go with me to a meeting of the Georgia Magic Club," which we did not even know existed. And so we went with him to the Magic Club, and that's where the bug really bit. And that was my introduction into the real world of magic. And my life has never been the same. But I thought about it. What if my dad had not made the extra effort, to say, this is something my son really enjoys, but I don't know anything else about it. So if he'd have just let it drop, but he didn't. Mm-hmm. He was so in tuned to me and so interested in what I was interested in that he chased it a little bit and ended up opening the door for something that is, as I tell people all the time, never dreamed would be this big a part of my life, but it sure has, and it sure has been fun. And so that's the piece that's become kind of new. I mean, I've always said my dad's the one that got me interested. This is a tricky, you've probably heard it yourself because you've seen all my stuff. But it's just been within the last year that I realized how my life would have been different if Dad had not chased that and gone the extra mile in helping me, with something I was interested in.
Absolutely. So, and this is what I picture coming out of that is right now dads are at home and you're seeing your kids' talents probably more than you've ever, and their interests more than you've ever seen before. Our daughter right now has gotten into Minecraft like crazy. And I'm not saying that Minecraft needs to be the world, but you look at what they're doing and what their interests are, and you start doing things with them, and you start, with your time with them, you will start seeing how the Lord has wired them and their interests and start influencing from that perspective. When you say?
Right. Yeah, because one of the things you mentioned earlier, you talked about being there. Well, that's the title of one of the chapters in the book. And it's the greatest story. I grew up in Atlanta and went to North Springs High School, graduated in 1971, and somehow I was selected as an outstanding senior. And so what that means is the yearbook, puts your picture in there, and you're like one of 20 or so. And so they had a picture in there of me balancing 3 Coke bottles at odd angles on top of each other. And it was kind of a magical looking stunt that made a great picture. And but here's the thing, the caption underneath the photo, it said, "Hey, let me show you this new magic trick, ... abracadabra, ... 100th point for little Dave, and that was a reference to I had scored points 96, 97, 98, 99, 100 in a basketball game my junior year. I'll bet that basketball is bigger around than you are, which is true. But then this is a cool thing. The last thing was, there's your dad over there. There's your dad. So my dad was so present in my life that when it came time to condense my high school years into like 4 little sentences, a reference to my dad was included, and not by me, but by my friends.
That's great.
You know, they noticed him being there so much that they're the ones that put that in there. And that's the part that just blows my mind. I get emotional, you know, thinking about it. But, you know, my dad was there. He knew my friends. He knew my teachers. He knew my coaches. He knew my teammates. And most of them knew him too. And I think they were pretty impressed that a preacher, you know, could be so cool. And but he was busy. I mean, he was you know, he was the only staff member at our church for the longest time. And he had a lot going on, but he never had so much going on that he didn't have time for me and for my brother and for my sister. And you know, it was just I still can't hardly that post in my yearbook is just, he was there.
Yep, and that's gold right there, to be able to look back and be able to say that and know that he was, and know how true that was, and know when you look back on it, you go, I know exactly what that means.
Yeah, I mean, I can still see him leaning up against the wall of the gym in his coat and tie, you know, just watching basketball practice.
That's great. That's fantastic. I was a senior superlative too in my yearbook, but mine was most traditional. I have no idea what that means. They made that up. That was our theme for that year, is tradition, and I think they made it up. So my superlative year, and it was not nearly as cool as yours.
Well, I mean, you know, it's interesting because it's one thing when you describe yourself, but when somebody else describes you, that's where the money is. I mean, I'm always looking for kudos. You know, people to say nice things about my magic. I can sit down and write all that stuff myself, but you know, it's better when I've got somebody saying this was great, he was great. You know, that when it comes from somebody else, it's different, it's better.
Absolutely, and I think maybe that's kind of what we can leave this with is to think about, okay, dads, what do you want your kids to be able to say about you after this? And what do you want their friends or people around you to be able to say about you when it comes to how you were a dad? And one of the best things that they could say about you was he was there. And it doesn't require you to do anything but be there. It doesn't.
That's
right.
You don't
have to have a special talent. You don't have to have you don't have to be the best football player, basketball, fisherman, whatever, but you were there. And so during this time, many of us don't have a whole lot of option but be there. But let's don't waste the time I know that there are times when we need some quiet time and downtime and you got to work and that kind of stuff, but we have opportunity after opportunity to go and do stuff. I know Carrie Ann has asked me, Daddy, can we go ride a bike? Can we go for a walk? Will you be my assistant as I do this project for her, one of her classes, or Mama, can you do that? So it's not just moms or not just dads, it's moms too. But specifically right now, we want dads to understand that this is your opportunity. The Lord has laid this out in our hands. This is your time to spend extra special time with your kids. And I've heard it said also that out of this, we as adults are probably going to remember the stress. We're going to remember how bad it was for our communities, and looking at the news and seeing the number of deaths and all those things. We'll look back on that, but most of our kids hopefully are going to remember Mom and Dad were at home all this time. We did all these things. School was crazy because we got out in March for the rest of the summer.
Permanent snow days.
Yeah. It's just, there's going to be a lot of things like that, but one of the things they're going to remember is I was there.
Right.
What I want to do is leave this time with this. This is something that you can do for us, and we're going to talk about where they can go and get more of this and exactly how to do it. But you were going to do a trick for us and be able to do that. And then dads, we're going to show you in a link with this how you can go and find out the how-to behind this and others, so that maybe that's something you can do for your kids. So Dave, I'm going to turn it over to you and let us do a magic trick for us.
All right, so this is a rubber band. I don't know if you can see it or not. Red rubber band. I'm gonna drop it over my first and second fingers like so. You can see it there. And I want you to watch closely, because all I'm gonna do is wave my hand over my hand, and the rubber band's gonna jump from these two fingers over to these two fingers. Can you see that? We'll do it again. I don't know if we can do it in slow motion or not, but watch. Just boom like this, and the rubber band has jumped from here back to here. Now, here's what's happened. This is a trained rubber band. And so under the cover of my hand, what happens is this rubber band comes shooting off the top of these two fingers, does a little flip like that, and then is able to land back on those two fingers. And so you just have to find one of these trained rubber bands. But I thought we might try to make that impossible. So we're going to take a second rubber band. This is a green rubber band, and we're going to twist it back and forth, trapping the red rubber band beneath my fingers. And yet watch, with just a wave of my hand, the rubber band is still able to travel from these fingers to these fingers, just like magic. That's called the jumping band. And another demonstration, as well as the explanation, is on my Facebook page right now. And what I've been trying to do, we're all looking for stuff to do. I've been posting a magic trick every day, and then the next day posting the explanation. So I think I'm up to my third trick, and that was the first one. So dads or anybody really can go there and watch a little magic, learn a little magic, have a little fun.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. That one, I actually saw where you posted that the other day, and I've seen that one over and over again. And I've even worked with that one, trying to learn that one. And I'm not nearly as smooth as you.
Well, it's just, this is the thing. Some of this stuff's not that hard to do. I've tried to put things, you've known me for a long time, and I've tried to put things out there for folks that are interested, because I know people aren't going to practice. Yeah. And they need stuff that's pretty good, but that works itself.
Yes. And we those of us we need to know that. Well, I want to give you one opportunity to do something that I know you do at every magic show with kids, that you have the opportunity to do. And I was on a conversation with some friends of mine yesterday, and he led out with this, and he used your name, and he said, this is something he taught me. And he said, 3 things with our kids: God loves you, God made you, and that's what makes you special.
That's right.
Or God made you, God loves you shared the word.
Those are my magic words. God made me, God loves me, and that's what makes me special. And it's true for you and me and everybody. And the other piece that goes with that, and these are sort of centerpieces of my ministry with children. They'll probably put them on my tombstone. And the other piece is, and this is a particularly important for now, whatever happens to you, whatever happens around you, God is always with you. And that's true. There's a lot of strange stuff happening to us and around us right now, but God is with us. And so I think that one of the things that the Christian brings to this situation is hope and peace in the midst of a lot of fear and a lot of anxiety.
Absolutely. Well, David, thank you for your time. Thank you for the conversation and just encouraging our dads and teaching us something new today. And I'm going to send everybody to your website and to your Facebook page. And I know you have a website there. Their link should be there too. You want to tell them your website real quick?
The website is just David Garrard, Garrard, davidgarrardmagic.com. And there are a lot of videos there, all kinds of magic that people can watch, not the explanations, just the magic, but some pretty cool things, including my performance on Penn and Teller Fool Us back in 2016, which was just, and speaking of dads, go watch that, because it celebrates the dad-daughter relationship. I'd forgotten about that till just now.
Absolutely. I remember watching that. That is a great point. They could go because of that trick on Penn and Teller. Those of you who know Penn and Teller, they had a show called Fool Us, and David was invited to come and be a part of that one time, and was televised nationally on that one. So that was a fun show. Well, David, thank you again. And
Thanks, David.
we will get to talk soon. And moms and dads, I hope you've enjoyed this time, and stay with us. Come back and hear us next time.